Hey, this is Troy Niles. I'm here on behalf of Crypto Cliff, and this is your Sunday lesson. Crypto Cliff, how you doing, bro?
Doing pretty good about yourself, brother.
Man, hanging in there, man. Enjoying the weekend, and looking forward to learning about today's lesson, which is blockchain.
Yes, so we're going to break this teaching session down into segments. The first segment of this teaching session for this Sunday is actually going into what blockchain technology actually is. A lot of
Mhm.
people who get into the crypto space or who invest into cryptocurrency have no clue of what blockchain technology is. And blockchain technology is the very backbone that runs and operates and controls all cryptocurrencies. So it's really, really imperative that everybody dig deep into what blockchain technology is, because blockchain technology is going to revolutionize the way we store data.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But how, who came up with the blockchain? Why is the blockchain so important?
The blockchain is so important because it actually brings accountability to how we store and access data. Now, who created the blockchain is very interesting because a lot of people don't know the United States government actually created blockchain technology. It was created off of cryptography, and it was basically a way for the United States government to be able to store and control data. Now, they actually failed horribly at creating blockchain technology. So when we had an anonymous person named Satoshi Nakamoto came along, who actually revolutionized and actually put the very keys into blockchain technology and created the first cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin. That actually brought out a new meaning or a new way of using blockchain technology. But blockchain actually was created in 1992. A lot of people
Hmm.
don't know that.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, cool, man. Well, go ahead and tell us what blockchain is and how it relates to not only like Bitcoin, but all these other applications I've been hearing about that it can be used for.
Cool. Let's get right on into it. And hey, everybody, make sure you bring your questions, bring your questions, bring your questions. This teaching session is all about you actually being able to being able to simplify what blockchain technology is to you, and for you to be able to digest the information so you can get a full understanding of what blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies are. Now,
Okay.
blockchain is an innovative database technology that is at the heart of nearly all cryptocurrencies. Truth be told, is going to be at the heart of every single thing and every single way we use data, our store data, our transfer data on the planet. Everything around us runs off of data. From your light bulbs in your house to your computer systems to your TVs to the way you ring up stuff at the grocery store. That's all data that's actually ran through systems, ran through ledgers. Now, by distributing identical copies of the database across the entire network, blockchain makes it very difficult to be hacked or to be able to cheat the system. While cryptocurrency is the most popular use for blockchain presently, the technology offers the potential to serve a wide range of applications. At its core, blockchain is a distributed digital ledger that stores data of any kind. A blockchain can record information about cryptocurrency transactions, NFT ownership, and DeFi smart contracts. Now, while any conventional database can store this sorts of information, the blockchain is unique in that it is totally decentralized. Decentralized meaning it cannot be controlled by a government system or a banking system. Rather than being maintained by one central location like most banks, by a central administrator like most banks and most government systems, think of the Excel spreadsheet or a bank database. Many identical copies of a blockchain database are held on multiple computer systems spread out across a network, aka nodes. These identical computer systems are referred to as nodes. Now, what it's saying basically is, instead of blockchain being in one central location, all the information being in this one central location that can be hacked, that can be manipulated, that can be controlled by a certain entity or a certain government system or a certain person, blockchain is set out against a system of computers. And by it being set out against a system of computers called nodes, it makes the transactions more verifiable, and it make it less easier for you to be able to hack into the system. It also makes it a lot easier for you to actually the transactions to actually be accepted into the system, because now you not only have one single person doing it, you have a system doing it, a system of people verifying transactions, a system of people looking for hackers, a system of people looking for anyone who wants to tamper with the blockchain. Now, how blockchain works. The digital ledger is often described as a chain. This is made up of individual blocks of data. As fresh data is periodically added to the network, a new block is created and attached to the chain, thus the name blockchain. This involves all nodes updating their version of the blockchain ledger to be identical, meaning basically once one system or one piece of data or one block is added to the blockchain, to the previous chains of the blockchain, every system on that network, every node on that network is then updated to be identical to the next. How these new blocks are created is key to why blockchain is considered highly secure, virtually unhackable. The majority of nodes must verify and confirm the legitimacy of the new data before a new block can be added to that ledger. For a cryptocurrency, this might involve ensuring that new transactions on the block were not fraudulent, or that coins have not been spent once before, meaning that anytime anybody comes in and tries to manipulate the system, because the system runs off the legitimacy of the previous blocks, it makes it virtually unhackable for anybody to get into the blockchain. It makes it virtually unhackable for anybody to try to get into or hack into that block of data. This is different from the standalone database or spreadsheet system that we use today in banking systems and government systems. Now, where one person can make changes without oversight, this is the major problem in society today. Most people go into banking systems and actually don't know that they have one centralized system to where all transactions actually run through that ledger. The people who own the banking systems, people behind the banking systems, even the government themselves, can actually go in and hack into the systems. It happens all the time when you owe taxes. You owe taxes to Georgia, for instance, where I am. Georgia, the state of Georgia, can literally go in and hack into your bank account and withdraw your funds out of your bank account because it runs off that one centralized system.
That's crazy.
Now, yeah. And it happened to me before when I owed taxes back in the day. Yeah. So believe me, I know they can hack into your system. So one of their consensus, the block is once there is a consensus, the block is added to the chain and the underlying transactions are recorded on the distributed ledger. Blocks are securely linked together, forming a secure data chain, a digital chain from the beginning of the ledger to the present, meaning that you have access to every single transaction ever done on the blockchain, from the very first transaction that was ever sent through blockchain technology to the transaction that just happened probably a tenth of a second ago. You can control, you can have access to every single one of those transactions. Each one of those transactions has been verified before. Each one of those transactions has a stamp on it or a hash on it, but you can go back and actually see the very first bit of Bitcoin ever sent. Now, can you do that with the internet? Because the blockchain, the internet is basically a way of storing and changing and transferring what? Data. But we call the internet in the digital space, what we call the internet in the crypto space is the wild, wild west, because the internet is centralized, but there's no accountability for the things that happen on the internet.
Okay.
So by saying that, you have human trafficking on the internet. You have the black web on the internet. Imagine if you had a system that was put in place to put accountability behind those websites. Now you can go back and verify the transaction that actually happened and try to somewhat stop. Now you won't be able to see the person who did it, but you can see the transaction and where it actually came from and where it was sent from. And you can go back and try to see if you can actually hold that person or hold that system accountable for those transactions. The internet, you can't do that. That's why blockchain technology is going to be it's literally 100 times bigger than the internet itself. It brings accountability back into the storing and transfers of data.
And with that being said, it kind of gets rid of the ambiguity and probably a lot of the paperwork that takes place in contracts and agreements.
Exactly. Just imagine, instead of you having to go and search for information, now you can go directly to the source and say, okay, cool, I did this contract on this day and it's stamped right here. This is the transaction right here within seconds, versus you going through all the paperwork and the hassle and file cabinets and all this other stuff that's going to take you hours. Now you can go to that hash and go directly to that transaction and say, this transaction happened at this date at this time. And it's anonymous transaction, meaning that no other central person knows your name and they don't know the person's name who you actually made that contract with. But it brings accountability to the system, but it also brings the sense of anonymity back to you.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows who you are, which then creates power for you. Because if everybody knows everything you've done, everything you did, you know what I mean? They can come back and hit you for anything. Now you have total anonymity.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. What are some of the other uses that you've seen or heard that the blockchain, not just cryptocurrency, but like what are some of the other uses of blockchain that we're seeing now and that we're going to see in the next, 3 to 5 years?
Okay. Well, let's get into it because I actually have a slide for that.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go into the other uses of what people are actually using blockchain for as soon as we get finished with this one right here.
Gotcha.
Now, this is how blockchain works pertaining when it comes down to crypto transactions. A lot of people don't know this, but this is what happens because most people just buy on Coinbase, most people buy on Bittrex, most people buy on Binance, they buy on KuCoin, they buy on Uphold, they can buy on Cash App now. You know what I mean? So, but most people don't know how the transaction actually works on the blockchain. Now, this is how the transaction works on the blockchain. Me and OG, we go out to lunch one day. We go out to dinner one day to talk business. I leave my wallet at home. Now, OG has his wallet, but I have my phone. So I say, okay, OG, you pay for our lunch, you pay for our dinner, and I will send you Bitcoin. So this is how the transaction actually works. So me being point A, I actually send out $50 of Bitcoin to OG. Now that transaction is represented online as a block or a block of data, block of information. That block is broadcast to every part in that network, aka every node in that network, every computer system in that network. Now from that point, the network can then approve or deny my transaction. Now they can approve the transaction saying this is a legitimate transaction. This transaction can be approved because it's valid. Or they can deny that transaction because it's fraudulent. It's something that somebody's trying to sell or trying to move a bit of Bitcoin they've already moved before, something that's fraudulent. Once that transaction is then approved, that piece of data or that block is then transferred and added to the chain of the previous transaction. The end result of all of this is OG gets his $50 in Bitcoin for our dinner. Now, through this whole entire process, did you see a middleman anywhere?
Not one.
No middleman here. The system literally legitifies itself, meaning that this system goes from peer to peer. No other intermediary gets paid from this transaction. Just me to OG. This
but
right
the other
here,
one's verified. They verify it. So it's like it brings new meaning to can I get a witness? Because it's all been verified.
Yeah. So just imagine this, and I like to use this analogy. Imagine you're on a football team and you're the quarterback. You don't have any O-line. You don't have an O-line member. You don't have no other O-line member on the line. And you have everybody else on the other team, the defense is hackers. How many people can hack into you? You have one centralized system. You get hit there all the time. But imagine if you had 100 O-line members, 100 O-line players.
Yeah.
With 20 players actually trying to go at you at one time. What's the likelihood of you actually getting hit?
Little.
Very little to none. It's non-existent.
Right.
Because that 100 is going to stop that 20 easily.
Right.
Even Tom Brady can get through that. You know Tom Brady ain't running for nothing.
He ain't moving nowhere.
He can run 100-yard touchdown off that type of offense.
Right. So put the circle around him, hedge of protection.
Yeah. So this is basically what blockchain technology does. It creates a system around you that protects you from being hacked, from being from being getting over on like the current system we have in place now. Not only do you have now you don't have one centralized system that's gonna move your transactions. You have thousands of nodes, a thousand computer systems that will stop a hacker in its tracks fast. This system is virtually unhackable. Now, what are the benefits of blockchain technology? Currently, the main benefit of blockchain technology is cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and altcoins. Now, Bitcoin is the king. We're going to get into that next week. Anything outside of Bitcoin is a altcoin. A lot of people don't know this, but there's two different types of decentralized systems. We have a decentralized system and a centralized system. A centralized system is something that can be used by the government system or banking system. Decentralized systems mean that it's totally owned, controlled, and ran by people. We own it, we run it, peer-to-peer network. Now, when it comes down to banking is mostly under the centralized systems of cryptocurrency, or blockchain technology. Now, beyond cryptocurrency, blockchain is being used to process transactions in fiat currency like dollars and euros. A lot of people don't know that. We're going to get into a few of the cryptocurrencies next week that you can actually use with the centralized system. They can actually be used to process fiat currency. Asset transfers. Blockchain can also be used to record and transfer the ownership of different assets. A lot of people don't know that. Now, this is currently very popular with the digital assets like NFT market. The representation of ownership in digital art and videos. NFTs are really going to be huge when it comes down to the music industry. Mainly more than anything else. NFTs are going to revolutionize how we actually look at art, how we look at music, how we look at everything else. It's going to bring ownership back to the people. And it's one of the main aspects of blockchain technology. Smart contracts, which is my favorite use for blockchain technology. Another blockchain innovation are self-executing smart contracts, self-executing contracts, commonly called smart contracts. These digital contracts are innately and automatically once. Oh, hold on, I messed up my bad. These digital contracts basically are automatically successful or automatically fulfilled once a condition of each side are actually met. For instance, a payment for a good might be released instantly once the buyer and the seller have met the parameters of the deal. Basically, we have a product, you have a product you want to sell, I have money that I actually want to put into this product. We make a smart contract on the Ethereum blockchain, on a blockchain that states whenever your preconditions are met and my preconditions are met, we both exchange the goods for that service, and that block is stamped into the blockchain. That block can go back. That contract can be going back and actually be verified on the blockchain. That contract can be seen by all systems on the blockchain. Now, another fun use of blockchain is voting. I'm from Florida, so y'all already know how the voting goes back home in Florida. But experts are looking into ways to apply blockchain to prevent fraud in voting. In theory, blockchain voting would allow people to submit votes that cannot be tampered with, aka our government system. Would remove the need for people to manually collect or verify paper ballots. Now, how much? Oh yeah. So how much more? How many of you guys would think that the government system we have in place, or the politicians we have in place, would actually be in office if we had blockchain to verify every single voting ballot?
Yeah. And then you got the voter suppression laws, and all the trickery that parties do to try to keep their people in. But now, one man, one vote, verified on the blockchain, it could change the political landscape of the United States pretty fast.
Oh yeah, and one of the biggest scams in voting is the electoral vote. Let's be real. You know what I mean? For instance, like Georgia turned blue, but the electoral vote actually almost made Georgia turn back red just because the electoral vote, even though they had more blue votes in Georgia than red. I mean, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
blockchain brings accountability back into the system.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Well, cool, man. That was a good primer on blockchain, which is like the backbone of the cryptocurrency market and other markets. So, like, what are some other uses of the um, blockchain that you've been seeing, or did you believe will start happening here pretty soon?
The main use for blockchain is going to be finances. And that's going towards finances in the centralized space for as banks. Like, for instance, we got cryptocurrencies like XRP that are being used by thousands of banks right now. But I think blockchain in a whole is going to revolutionize the way we actually access everything, not just anything. Everything right now is ran off the internet. Cell phones to the way we watch a TV to the way we do everything. So imagine what's going to happen in the next few years when the internet is obsolete.
Mm.
That's blockchain. Blockchain is going to push the internet completely out of the board because it's 100 times bigger than the internet itself. So not only will blockchain be the uses for blockchain to be in the small, minute circle we actually talked about today, blockchain will be used in every aspect of our lives.
So, Cliff, that's very interesting. It's a really big thought. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how big blockchain is and how big it will be. But I'm just gonna keep on, listening and trying to figure it out. Anything you want to say before we get out of here till next week?
Oh yeah, man. Y'all, look into the information of blockchain technology. Once you look into the information, you'll see how big it was. Blockchain technology is basically what the internet was when it was written down on a piece of paper and it was thought. The thing what it is, you can create so many different other applications off of blockchain until it's ridiculous. Everything in this world will be eventually ran off of blockchain technology, and it's coming. It's here. Just look at what we're doing with the metaverse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's going to be a whole nother topic. But look how we're doing with the metaverse. Look what we're doing with the gaming systems. Look what we're doing with everything around us. It will be ran off of blockchain technology because it's a more efficient version of the internet. It's a more secure version of the internet. It's a more accountable version of the internet. And it's 100 times bigger than the internet itself. So that's the way you have to look at it. Back in the 90s, nobody thought the internet would be what it is today.
Absolutely.
And now we're in that pivotal moment in time to where we're like, okay, cool. The internet has been here for a while. What's the next big thing? And the next biggest thing is blockchain technology.
Well, look, you heard it here. November 2021. We look back on this video 10 years from now. We'll see where blockchain is. But until next Sunday, we'll see you on the Sunday lesson.